And welcome to another edition of Right on Rangers Live, coming at you in the 8th inning of a 4-1 ball game. We are unfortunately not the team with 4. You just can't make some of this stuff up. Rangers struggling with the lowly Chicago White Sox, man. Wearing the Chicago Bulls jerseys. Marcus Semien up to bat right now. We're going to bring you the rest of the game here in just a little bit. Bring you the commentary, the play-by-play analysis, everything in one. It's going to be great. Appreciate all y'all hanging out. Marcus Semien leading off for the Rangers, who are down 4-1, top 8. Nobody out. Marcus so far on the day, 0 for 2 from his spot. 0 for 2 from his new spot in the 9-hole. Kind of the crazy story before the game was Adolis Garcia, Marcus Semien, each getting dropped down to 8-9, respectively. Marcus is 2-1 now in the count. And look, beyond Jake Berger, Josh Young, and Wyatt Langford, the Rangers, no hits for the rest of the lineup. 3 guys in the lineup tonight have hits. Burke, the starter. Of course, the Rangers made him look like an all-star. Cy Young candidate, best start of his major league career. Burke worked around 3 walks, only gave up 3 hits total. And look, they're showing a stat that the White Sox have the most blown lead losses in Major League Baseball. They're playing a good team to avoid adding to that total. Hey, Phil, appreciate you, brother. Thanks for hanging out. Look, I will be sticking through thick and thin. There's no quit here at Right on Rangers. We're going to be riding this one out all the way to the bitter end, just like we did last year. Marcus Semien sends one deep. It might. It just stayed in the park, man. Semien barely missed that one. Warning track power. The pitcher thought it was gone. Pitcher absolutely thought that was gone. Left center, and Semien, weight room, baby. That one almost made it out. Robert catches it at the base of the wall there. Appreciate all y'all hanging. We're going to get into everything here in just a little bit. First here, Right on Rangers, we cover everything sports, but we put a big emphasis on all the teams we love from the great state of Texas, including the Rangers, and especially the Rangers during MLB season. Thank you for choosing Right on Rangers for all of your Texas Rangers content. Appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. And we'll try and get to your comments and questions along the way. Look, not a great night to go live unless something magical happens here in the last 2 innings, but we're here talking ball. Think there's a few things, a few talking points. I definitely want to talk a little bit about Kumar Rocker, who made his rehab start tonight for AA Frisco. We're going to get to that. We'll obviously talk Saturday, Sunday matchups. Tonight, Jake Berger comes up with a big double. Could have made it 3-2. Rangers not able to get home. Believe Josh Young got thrown out at the plate. Let's see. Yes, that was right. Wyatt scored. Josh gets thrown out. So Josh got to do a little bit better conditioning, I guess. It was a pretty close play, to be fair. I'm giving him a hard time. But look, could have been 3-2. Rangers get thrown out at the plate, 3-1. Haggerty slaps one the other way. That's going to hang up, though. There's 2 outs quickly here in the 8th inning. Like I said, the only Rangers with hits tonight, number 3, 4, and 5, Langford, Young, and Berger. Langford, Young, and Berger, that's appropriate because those are about the only guys, it feels like, that are actually hitting right now. Like the only guys you can really trust to hit. I mean, Peterson, meh, at this point. I wonder what the numbers say on Peterson. I know for a long time we were saying he's just getting really unlucky. I don't know where he's at right now on the unlucky meter, but Peterson 0 for 2 tonight. He got subbed for Pilar. Heim 0 for 3 with 2 Ks. Adolis 0 for 3. Semien 0 for 3 as well. We keep going. Josh Smith up to bat right now, 1-1 count. Texas, I'm kind of with you on some of these guys at the bottom. You know, you kind of wonder, and I was saying this a little bit during the game today. It's ironic. It's kind of weird to say out loud, but you just kind of wonder if a bad series in Chicago is what this team needs to move forward. And let me hash that out a little bit. Clearly, nobody wants to watch this Rangers team have a bad series in Chicago. But I don't know what else is going to potentially jumpstart changes. I think you win a few games here, you beat up on a few bad teams there. And at the end of the day, you're caught in this constant limbo. Like, we obviously had some great moments against the Rockies. Look, the Tigers series was awesome as well, and that's actually against one of the better teams in baseball right now. But you had the good series against the Rockies, you split with the Astros, and then you went to New York and got swept. I just kind of wonder if a bad series in Chicago is actually going to jumpstart things. And look, I don't know what they're willing to do. I don't know what lengths they're willing to go to, but I cannot imagine a sweep or a series loss in Chicago is going to be sitting very well with the front office. Don't know how desperate or drastic they're going to get, but I do think a series like this, where you're losing to one of the worst teams in baseball, definitely gets the fire started. I don't know if that's going to be true or not this time around for CY and the Rangers organization, but I will say this. I absolutely think you lose 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 3 to the White Sox, there's going to be some changes. Has to be. 4-1 right now, James. 4-1. White Sox are up. Bottom of the 8th inning. Rangers go in order. Made some decent contact. Josh Smith hit a ball pretty hard right at the center fielder, right at Robert. So we're going to go bottom 8. Rangers will have one more chance, and they will have Langford, Young, and Berger up. It's a good 3 to have up in the 9th inning. It's a good 3 to have up. Berger's definitely doing a pretty solid. I don't know why we're calling out Berger. He's the one guy that actually came through with the clutch hit today. So I don't know why we're getting on Berg. Berg's actually been probably the best hitter on the team over the past week. So I know the stat line, the slash line doesn't look great for Berg right now. He's probably been one of the best hitters, though, on the team over the past week. Ever since he came up from AAA, honestly, Berger has been pretty good. It's other guys that just don't have a clue up there at this point. Appreciate all y'all hanging out. Thank you so much. We keep going. Semien Richard, he has been a disaster. Like I said, you have a bad weekend in Chicago here. I kind of wonder, does that kickstart potentially some big-time changes? I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what they're willing to do. But in a way, I think that a bad series in Chicago could actually end up being a good thing if it actually causes them to do something different. So you moved Semien, you've moved Garcia down to 8 and 9. It doesn't get much more embarrassing than that. Matthew, they're not going to do that. I don't even know why you would suggest that, but you're not going to trade the 2 of the 5 probably best pitchers in baseball right now. There's no reason to do that. Zero reason to do that. There is a big-time reason to get better offense. There's a huge reason to get better offense. And that's what they need to do right now. Yeah, I don't even know. Here's my thing, Matt. We can entertain a lot of different scenarios, but they're not trading DeGrom or Evo. I don't even know. I don't even know what would probably need to take place for that to happen. Pigs flying. I mean, they're not trading DeGrom. They're not trading Evo. Can't even follow the logic, honestly, but you got to get a better offense. You've got the best 1-2 punch in baseball. There's no reason to trade it. There is a reason to get better offensive players. So it makes a lot less sense to me to say trade Evo and DeGrom. Makes a lot more sense to me to say go get 2 really good bats. I don't even understand. The logic there is odd. I get it. It's frustrating. Look, I throw out a lot of crazy things too, so I'm going to take it with a grain of salt, but trading Evo and DeGrom, not the smartest choice. Who are we trading to get the bats? Prospects. I mean, look, here's the reality, y'all. Chris Young, the vision right now is maximize DeGrom and Evo. You've got 3 years with DeGrom and Evo. We talked about this on the show last night. It lines up perfectly. You're not trying to waste DeGrom and Evo years. You just signed Evo to a contract. Why on earth would you be trying to trade him already? That's what I mean. Like, we got to operate somewhat within like the realms of logic and reason here. Why would you trade Evo? You just signed him to a 3-year deal. You can trade prospects, though. And I know some of y'all love prospects. I personally am not super attached to them. I think that you've got to go and trade some prospects and get some bats. I don't think there's any other option. Either that or you bring the prospects up and you let them hit. I actually think that's probably what's going to end up happening. Is you're probably going to see a guy like Garcia potentially get DFA'd or traded, and you're going to see one of the prospects come up. If Semien doesn't get out of it, snap out of it, maybe we bring up Walcott. I mean, I don't know. I think that this series, if it doesn't go the Rangers' way, you could see some drastic things happening. I mean, look, I don't know how desperate they're going to be, but having a bad series in Chicago, if you're looking for change, it might not be the worst thing in the world. Yeah, I think you've got to trade some prospects and get some bats. I can't say this enough. Y'all are going to hear me say this a lot over the course of the year. You've got the best 1-2 starting pitching punch in baseball. There's nobody better in the game right now than Jacob deGrom, Nate Eovaldi 1-2 punch. Nobody. I don't know if there's really a super close second. Maybe Fried and Rodon in New York. Maybe. But for me, those guys, not as solid in the postseason. Evo, I don't know if there's anybody you could really put up that has both the pedigree and the postseason success. I mean, look, throw in Mahle. I think that Mahle definitely is up there right now. And look, he had a little bit of an off night tonight, but I put off in air quotes because he probably could have thrown another inning and gotten a quality start out of this. You're just not going to waste this pitching. So, look, we can trade a lot of different guys. I don't even know why you'd be suggesting trading the best 1-2 punch in baseball. And yes, 1, 2, 3 if you want to add in Tyler Mahle. So, for me, that's why you have to go and get a bat. You have to go get a bat. No, they're not going to sell. Matthew, come on now, baby. You're still trying to go after this. They're not going to sell. You just signed Evo to a 3-year deal. You're not going to trade him. And honestly, like trading them, there's no plan if you're doing that. If you're a fan of trading, I mean, it's all a matter of perspective, I suppose, but I'm not in love with prospects. Prospects do not hit as much as it seems like they do. And I got to say, I'm not a big fan of doing this huge rebuild. And yeah, you get some prospects out of maybe an Evo trade or a deGrom trade, guys that probably might not ever work out. Not a fan of that. If you've got good prospects and you can go get 2 good bats, you go do that. You trade for guys that are good right now, not guys that might be good one day. You might as well just tank for the next 10 years. Like, there's no plan if you trade those 2 pitchers. Zero plan for that. Keep going. We're on to the top of the 9th, by the way. Latz actually pitched a pretty good 8th inning, man. He pitched a pretty solid inning all in all there. I mean, I've got to say, I'm glad that he comes in and, you know, we had Cole Winn in that 8th inning. Sorry, Latz in the 7th. Latz pitched a great 7th. Cole Winn gets 1, 2, 3 in the 8th. The pitching, once again, not really bad. Pitching's actually been pretty solid today. Brad, I'm with you. Cole Winn looked pretty good. He looked pretty good. Now, here are some interesting scenarios. I do think there's some other pitchers that you trade. No way do you trade deGrom or Evo, but you could trade a John Gray. You could trade him to get maybe a package where you get a bat. You could also trade potentially a guy like Cody Bradford. I don't know that a lot of y'all are going to love that because a lot of people, just from my chats and all these lives and all these shows, really love Bradford. I think if you're just stacking it all up, you'd probably rather have Rocker over Bradford. So I wouldn't probably want to trade Rocker. That's just me. I would much rather trade like Cody Bradford and John Gray than anything else. But I don't know that they're going to trade Cody Bradford. He's still so controllable. I think John Gray is the immediate guy. Maybe you dump Patrick Corbin. If you can get Patrick Corbin and value out of him, that could be a possibility. I don't think a bat is saving the lineup, Brad, but I do think you could go potentially get a couple of bats. Maybe you could do something creative like that. You get Seager back. You get a bat. You add a bat to the lineup. Who knows? You bring up a couple of prospects. Who knows? Gray is going to be the closer? Maybe. Shoot. I mean, it's open season right now for like the back end of the bullpen, I feel like. Open season, seriously. Oh, by the way, top of the ninth here. Let's finish this one out strong. We've got Wyatt Langford, and then Wyatt Langford, Josh Young, Berger, and Peterson coming up right now. See what we got. See what we can get going here. 3-run deficit. You got your 3 best hitters. Wyatt Langford hard down the line. Foul. Smoked that ball. 108 off the bat. Keep going. Who's pitching on Tuesday? No idea. Let's just get a run to gain some momentum for tomorrow. Harris 100%. All y'all trying to trade DeGrom and Evo, I'm not even going to go there. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And y'all don't hear me say that very much. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Trade DeGrom and Evo. Okay. Can't go there. Can't even follow the logic. Just, you're just asking for us to be bad for the next 10 years. Prospects just don't work out as much as y'all think they do. Look at the Rangers, right? How many times have we had a superstar prospect develop out of a trade? It's not often. Spoiler alert. So I'm not a fan of that. If this team was better developing, I might be on your page. But all of y'all that are assuming we're going to get prospects and they're going to be awesome, I really don't get it. So in my opinion, if you're on the page, you know that we don't develop. Great. I'm not saying we don't develop at all, but I think most of us can agree. Rangers don't develop. Great. You can't develop. What good does prospects do for you? Bo, answer the question. What good does prospects do for you if you can't develop? Name me 5 prospects that the Rangers have developed into superstars in the past 20 years. Like, it's tough. It's tough. I don't really think there's a great answer there. So you want to trade guys, you're really just asking for us to be terrible. So that's why I think it's a stupid idea that doesn't have a lot of substance to it. We got to go and get some bats and make this lineup better. And I say bring up the prospects. I would see what Osuna has. I would see maybe, I don't know if I would go Walcott yet, but I would see at least what Osuna has. He's in AAA now. I don't think he's on the 40-man, but you can make some adjustments there. That's what they've got to do. I don't know how much longer you can hang around with Adolis Garcia. Marcus Semien, I think, is still going to be a tough one, but I don't think even he is going to get around not playing if he continues to play like this. Justin, what's good, man? I do think you got to get Walcott up, and you can potentially call up Osuna as well. Don't know what Osuna has been doing in AAA, though. Let me check the stats, see if I can pull up Osuna's batting average and slash line in AAA. By the way, 1 down. Wyatt Langford grounded out sharply, hard ground ball to third base. Josh Young up now, 100 miles an hour off the bat from Wyatt Langford. Rangers, kind of the story every game, have had some nice hits today, some solid contact, but nothing to show for it. 3-2 pitch here coming to Josh Young. Right on it, fouled it straight back, 95 miles an hour. All right, minor league ball. Round Rock, 13-13 ball game. Round Rock right now. Playing the Knights. My goodness. 13-13. What do you know? That's crazy. All right, let's check this. Josh Young takes a walk, by the way. We've got live Berger coming up to bat. So we had Dustin Harris, 4 RBI today. Blaine Crim, 3 for 4 with 4 RBI. Osuna not in the lineup. Looks like he's hitting 261 in AAA so far. 261, but he's not in the lineup tonight. Blaine Crim, 4 RBI game. Dustin Harris, 4 RBI game. There you go. Jake Berger sends a fly ball, can of corn. 2 down here. And it's going to be up to Kevin Pillar to extend this one out. Yeah, look, I feel like potentially you could call up one of the young guys who hasn't been in the league yet and see what they got. I don't think that if I'm betting, I'm saying that one of those guys is really going to make a huge difference. But I guess my point would be you got limited options. And an option I think might be bringing up one of those guys just to see if they provide a spark. You never know. I don't really feel great about starting the clock on a Walcott per se. Osuna, I think it would be okay to start the clock on. Walcott, you want to control him as long as possible. And you really only want to bring him up if he's going to be playing every day for sure. And if you think it's actually going to be worth it for this season. You don't want to bring Walcott up right now and miss the playoffs. Like, you want to bring Walcott up when you know for sure that you are going to be making the playoffs. And I don't know. It's a very risky proposition to bring up some of these guys early. I think you could stomach Osuna. I think it would be hurtful, though, if you bring up Walcott right now and the Rangers end up continuing doing what they're doing. You just basically wasted half a season of Walcott. Keep going. Yep, 1 run against the White Sox. Frustrating, y'all. Higgy up 1-1 right now. 1-1 count. Trying to pull an outside off-speed pitch, and that's going to do it. White Sox take this game 4-1. Embarrassing loss, man. Very embarrassing loss. Frustrating. So, moving Semien to 9th, moving Garcia to 8th, not much of a difference. Garcia, by the way, 0 for 3, but also a key error out in the field. It really didn't end up making a huge difference in the ball game, but just kind of makes you even that much more ready to be done. You know, Dolly is really playing some Gold Glove defense this year, making that error right after the Rangers get it within 2 runs. It's just kind of the cherry on top, isn't it? Just kind of the cherry on top. So I think at this point, who knows how the rest of this series is going to end up. But I think you have a bad series in Chicago. It might not be the end of the world. It might actually be the catalyst for some real change. I don't think moving Garcia and Semien down is going to do anything for this lineup. Like, it's what you should do if they have to be in the lineup. But I think Garcia and Semien, it doesn't matter where you have them. They're not going well right now. And I just don't think it's going to matter. You can't hide them in the 8 and 9 hole. And you can't really make any kind of difference by doing a whole lot else with the lineup. You move them down to 8-9. What else are you going to do differently beside write Corey Seager's name in when he comes back from injury? I think that you have got to potentially see the bright side of the loss tonight and doing poorly in Chicago. It might actually lead to some change with the personnel. So all y'all that have been wanting the changes with personnel, a bad weekend in Chicago might actually lead to that. And for the record, I don't want to see them drop 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 3 in Chicago. It's embarrassing. But I'm serious. It might be the only way for real change to happen. You lose 3 in a row to the White Sox, 6-game losing streak. Right now we're at 4, right? But you drop 3 in a row to Chicago on a 6-game skid. I find it hard to believe that there's not going to be any changes. I find it really hard to believe. Bo, I'm with you on that. I do feel like when we go down, I'm not going to say 1 run, but I do feel like when we go down 3 runs, it's over. 2-1, I'm with. Chris, by the way, appreciate the cap, my friend. Like, if we go down 2 runs, I'm still not feeling great, but it's reachable. We go down 3 runs or more, I am feeling like the game is over. Look, Chatty, we might be able to. By the way, for all y'all on TikTok, the comment was, I guess we're not going to be able to get Rafael Devers. I think that you got to put everything on the table right now. I don't know if Devers is even a thought or an option, but you've got to put everything on the table right now. Like I said, you've got 2 of the best pitchers in the game. So, Mike, I know you're coming in a little bit late. By the way, brother, appreciate it. Good to see you. Wish we could be seeing each other again under better circumstances, my friend. But the personnel change that I discussed is this. Again, you've got the 2 best pitchers, 2 of the best pitchers in the game. I think it's the best 1-2 punch in baseball. I've said that a number of times. I think you've got to maximize the 3 years you have left with both those guys. The timelines, they line up perfectly. Evo and DeGrom, 3 years left. And then with DeGrom, you've got a club option in the 4th year. Evo's going to be an unrestricted free agent after 3. So you've literally got a perfect timeline. DeGrom, Evo, best 1-2 punch in the game. You've got to maximize that window, and you cannot allow any time to be wasted. You don't know how many more years you're going to get elite DeGrom, elite Evo. I would hope at least this season, next season, you could count on that. I do think in the 3rd year, it's going to be interesting with DeGrom and Evo. So that would be 2027. I think 2027 is going to be an interesting year. What are we getting out of DeGrom and Evo in 2027, the last year of each of their deals, assuming you don't take the club option on DeGrom? But I think you have to maximize what you've got with those 2. So I think you trade prospects. Walcott, Teodo, probably the 2 untouchables. Everybody else has got to be up for trade. The only guys I'm not trading in the farm are Teodo and Walcott. Those would be the only exceptions. Everybody else is available for a trade. I'm going to do whatever I can if I'm CY to use those prospects. Maybe you throw in a John Gray. John Gray, I think, would have value to a lot of different teams. Trade him to the NL. So hopefully you don't have to see him in the World Series. Not that he's unhittable, but that would be my preference. Don't trade him to somebody in the American League who you're going to be playing against on your way to a World Series. See if an NL team would be open to John Gray. And you trade John Gray and prospects, and you try and go get a big bat from somebody. Who? I don't know. And it's going to be hard to tell because we don't know who's available and who's not, right? You're only going to be able to really see that clear picture in June, maybe into July even. So right now, it's hard for me to say, who do we go out and get? Because we don't know who's going to be a seller and who's going to be buying. We don't know these things yet. But there will be a bat available. I'm sure there will be a big bat. Somebody will be willing to trade someone who's having a good year on maybe a little bit of a struggling team. And we need to be willing to part with the prospects to go get one. And Mike, that is kind of what I said. I would go get 2 bats. I think the hope would be maybe you bring up one of the guys from AAA and they actually make a difference. And then you go trade other prospects beyond that one guy for a bat. And then you've got obviously Seager and Carter, those guys coming back, coming around. That would also help. But it does feel like they need multiple impact bats here. Semien, I don't think he is going to last if this continues. And what does that mean? I don't know. I don't think he's going to continue to start games if this continues. I do think he will cede time to somebody. When Corey Seager gets back, I think that's when it's going to happen. I don't think right now you're going to bench Marcus Semien. You just don't have anybody. And I'd rather see Marcus than Ezekiel Duran. I'm sorry. I don't want to see Ezekiel Duran over Marcus Semien at this point. It's basically a wash. You might as well play Marcus Semien. But when Corey Seager gets back, I think everything's on the table because then you can bench Semien and you can play Josh Smith. You've got all of your outfield set up. Adolis Garcia, if you want to bench him or you want to DFA him or trade him, it's possible. But I think at this point, I would say when Seager gets back, when Evan Carter gets back, there's going to be a lot on the table in terms of moves. A lot on the table. Yeah, and look, here's the beautiful thing. And let me speak to a few of the people that are specifically wanting to sell off a lot. Let's say the Rangers in July, trade deadline rolls around, clearly not going to be making the playoffs. There is a scenario where you can sell quite a bit and still reload for 2026. That's kind of my issue with some of y'all that are suggesting to trade the really big names right now, because there's a scenario where you reload with a different offense in 2026 and you keep the core pitching. And so for me, I'm not a big fan of any kind of talks to trade DeGrom or Evo. You could keep both of those pitchers, burn down the entire offense if you want, but you've still got that pitching. So I don't understand anybody that's willing to do that right now. You could see this Rangers team totally retooling the offense in the offseason and still having a very elite pitching staff. By the way, Leiter, Rocker, those guys, who knows what they could become. I am not a fan at all of trading the big names. You could trade off quite a bit. You could trade Mahle at the deadline, and this is assuming that you're out of the playoffs. And I know somebody's going to come in late, but let's just go with the scenario you're out of the playoffs. If you're out of the playoffs and you're at the trade deadline, Mahle is on an expiring contract. Gray is on an expiring contract. I would probably trade Adolis Garcia. He doesn't have that many years of control left. I would think about dealing Jonah Heim. His salary is only going to go up. And you're not really getting a ton of production out of him. There's a number of guys that are going to be on the trade block. I doubt, I would be willing to bet almost everything you're not going to see a DeGrom or an Evo trade. You're just not. But I don't even know if Evo can be traded. I think he might have a no trade. I think DeGrom might have a no trade. So I don't even think that those guys are going to be traded anyways, but it's not probably even up to the Rangers, honestly. Look, Heim, I only throw his name out there because you're starting to get to limited years of control. You're paying Jonah Heim, I think, about $5 million right now. You would assume that probably jumps up maybe to 7 or 8. And then you're kind of asking yourself, do we want to pay Jonah Heim $8 million for the kind of production that he's giving us? I don't know. Or do you want to just go with one of the young catchers and get nearly the same amount of production? That's why I throw out Jonah Heim. I do think that there's a lot of names, if the Rangers are out of it in July, that you could see gone. But, of course, you have the core that sticks around. You're not going to trade Evo or DeGrom. You're not going to trade the young guys. But you could see a Tyler Mahle and a John Gray leaving. Why would you keep them? If you're out of the playoffs, those guys are on a one-year deal. You have got to get something for them. DeGrom, Evo, you got 3 years left. Look, I know a lot of y'all love Jonah Heim, and I'm a big Jonah Heim fan too. I don't consider Jonah Heim to be essential to the team's success. I'm sorry. Maybe that's a hot take for some of y'all. Maybe that's hard to hear. I don't think that Jonah Heim is irreplaceable. I love Jonah Heim. I think he's a great guy. I don't think that right now, the way Jonah Heim is playing, that he is some irreplaceable catcher ball player. I don't think that that is the case at all. I think there's a number of different stats that would back me up on that. Jonah Heim is not irreplaceable. So if Heim left, I wouldn't love it, but I wouldn't hate it, because you can replace what Jonah Heim is giving you. It's not like Jonah is hitting 275, throwing out 50% of base runners. I do like the way that he manages the staff. I think he does have good control over that. And that might honestly be the biggest reason to keep him, is it feels like the pitching staff responds well to him and is having a lot of success. That might be the only reason you potentially keep Heim and continue to pay him. Salary's probably going to go up next year to $7.5, $8 million. And I think he's got a couple years left to control. I personally would say at some point, you got to put everything on the table. And these guys that are in arbitration, limited years of control left, you've got to at least consider it. Yeah, DeGrom is definitely no trade clause. Mike, this is a good one. Y'all can't see the YouTube comments, but Higgy, I think Higgy's on a 2-year deal, right? You could potentially think about dealing Higgy, and you could potentially get Higgy, maybe, let's see, off to a contender, and you get some prospects back for him. I don't know. I don't think Higgy's having a great year. I don't think there's going to be a ton of takers, but I'm sure somebody would be open to having a backup catcher. Yeah, I'm with Mike though. The comment is, if we're anywhere near 500, we're not going to be doing a fire sale. I do think there's kind of some hedging that you can do though. Like we've said it all along, you can trade Sean Gray anyways. You've got plenty of depth, right? So you could trade a John Gray. I think that they should do that. I don't think that you should keep John Gray. You've got way too much pitching depth. You've got Leiter, you've got Rocker, you've got Corbin, you've got Bradford. There's a way too much starting pitching depth, and I know CY would probably say you can never have enough, but I personally feel like you can still sell off a couple of guys and you can get some value. But I'm with Mike. You're not going to see the Rangers fire sale if they're even close to a playoff spot. Let me keep going here. Ultra Modern, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think they're going to trade Evo or DeGrom. There's really nothing that points to that. Some of y'all are talking about Bruce Bochy. I have thrown out my concerns about Bruce Bochy. I've thrown out my concerns. I don't think that there's really a whole lot that you can say to some people. Not a lot of people that I've talked to, Rangers fans, want to get rid of Boch. I think Boch, just because of his, acumen and everything that he has accomplished in the game, it's going to be tough to get rid of a guy like that. I don't think they're going to do it. I think that they'll let him ride out the rest of this year, so I can't see it happening. I do have my doubts at this point. This has been a year and a half of this almost. Maybe not quite a year and a half, but it's been a year and a third of struggle. And so I do think at some point you do have to look at the manager. That's no disrespect to Bochy, but we can't give Boch all the credit for 2023, which a lot of us do, right? A ton of us give credit to Bochy for what happened in 23. But if you're going to give Boch a ton of credit in 23, I don't think if you're using proper logic, you can totally absolve him in 24 and 25. I do think that he deserves some blame. You don't see a lot of people really applying that pressure. And I've said over and over, I know those of y'all that have listened for a long time, I wish that Boch would shoulder a little bit more blame. And I wish that more people would look to him as a guy that can make a difference and isn't. But instead, of course, we're going to blame the players and we're going to blame the guys that are throwing the ball and swinging the bat. And I would say that's probably the right thing to do. But I don't think that you can totally excuse the manager. I do think that Seager coming back is going to make a difference. That's the comment on YouTube right here. When Seager is healthy, the team is elevated. And in the games that we're playing, they're so close. Having a big AB from Seager would 100% make a difference. Robert, I don't think Seager is going to come back and play first base. I think Jake Berger is on the upswing, and they like what they're seeing from Berger. I do think that Seager coming back and playing short opens the door for Marcus Semien playing less, because you can easily have Josh Smith play second base, although Josh Smith is not playing awesome right now. We love Josh Smith, but Josh Smith is on an icy cold run. Josh Smith is hitting .080, .80 right now in his last 7 games. That's not good. He's hitting .214 over his last 15 games with a .530 OPS. So Josh Smith, .530 OPS over his last 15 games. That's not good. So I don't know. That's the thing. Now you're kind of seeing some of these other guys in the lineup start fading. And so there is validity for the people saying we're not 1 bat away. We're not 2 bats away. I tend to think Seager being back in the lineup is going to give this team a boost. is going to get them to a little bit of a higher level than where they're at right now. But it's hard. Then you look and Josh Smith is struggling. Wyatt Langford, let's take a peek at what he's got going on over the last 15 games, 7 games. Wyatt's hitting 200 over his last 15 games. 702 OPS, very pedestrian. Last 7 games for Wyatt, he is 695 OPS, below average. So even Wyatt Langford and some of the guys that were off to such hot starts are suddenly cooling off. That's what's concerning most to me. And maybe you can attribute some of that to the contagiousness of bad hitting. Just like good hitting can be contagious, I believe it goes the other way too. Maybe you see some of these guys start picking it up when a healthy Seager comes back in the lineup and starts hitting well. I don't think that Corey Seager is going to come back and stink it up the rest of the year, but we just don't know when Corey's actually coming back. Mike, you have a good point here, and I'm going to make sure I lock in a little bit more on TikTok here because I know y'all have been lighting it up in the comments. The comment on Smitty is essentially from Mike, is he an everyday player? Mike's comment was Smitty's best when he's playing 5 days a week. I think that's a big reason why we saw Josh Smith tail off last year. Chris, appreciate the gift, by the way. Thank you so much, brother. I think that's why you saw Josh Smith really have a bad ending to 2024. He got to kind of his limit. He had never played that many games before. And look, I do wonder if at this point in his career, if the everyday grind just not totally cut out for it yet. I'm not saying that he can't be one day, but still a guy that hasn't played 160 plus, 150 plus games. So, Mike, you might be onto something. Do you send Wyatt down to AAA for a reset? That would be pretty radical. I would have to say that's probably not on the table right now at all, just because you don't really have anybody that's going to come up and deserves to play over him or would be better than him. So I don't think I would unless it got really bad, but it's not going great right now for Wyatt or for Josh Smith. And unfortunately, those are the guys that are leading off and setting the table for us. I mean, you heard what I just read out. Those are our 1-2 hitters, our 2 guys leading off, hitting .80 and Wyatt hitting under a 700 OPS. That's our number 1 and our number 2 right there, y'all. That's not going to go well. It's just not. Hey, JJ, what's good, man? Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you. Yeah, Brad, I'm with you. I think a couple of bats, one from the minors, maybe an Osuna comes up and pops, and then you go and trade for another big bat, and maybe that jumpstarts it. You get Seager back. Evan Carter continues his progression. I think that's definitely not a lock, by the way. Evan Carter continuing his progression. He had a nice little start when he came back to the big league club, but even before the injury, maybe it was injury related, but I think we saw Evan Carter cool a little bit. So I don't know, y'all. It's definitely a risky proposition. But if I'm just telling you straight, like what's going to happen, I think kind of what Mike said, if they're even within striking distance of 500 or a playoff spot, you're going to see CY probably buy and try and sell out to not waste DeGrom and Evo's years. Keep going. Bottom of the league in all hitting stats, Mark. Yes, sir. Haggerty over Carter. No. I know Haggerty has had some decent games here and there, but no. Haggerty is he almost 30? Yeah, I think Haggerty is, let's see, he's 31. 31, is that right? Yep. Haggerty, 31 years old. Like, you're not going to give time to a Haggerty over Evan Carter. You're just not. So I don't think Haggerty is going to play over Carter at this point. And I don't think Haggerty's done enough. Like, Haggerty right now is hitting 265, 760 OPS. That's not enough to take away playing time from Evan Carter. If this dude was hitting over 300, 850 OPS, I would say maybe. Maybe. But even then, I would probably say no, he's going to go back to being a depth guy. You'd have to play really, really well, probably all-star level, to totally get Evan Carter out of that picture in the outfield. Chris, what's good, man? Thanks for hanging out. And thank you for the gift as well, brother. Rangers making every pitcher we look like a Cy Young candidate. That dad, what's good, man? Appreciate you. We say that literally every game, I feel like. It's like this dude that hasn't been pitching great, and he comes out and he looks like Cy freaking Young, man. It stinks. It just stinks. Yeah, Carter definitely above Haggerty. And yeah, Haggerty absolutely over Pilar. I kind of wonder if Pilar is going to make it through the end of the season. I think they probably end up DFAing Pilar. There's really not a huge need for him when you have an Evan Carter come back. I'd probably rather have Haggerty than Pilar at this point. We'll see. But I think it's got to be one of those two guys getting DFA'd. But Haggerty being a switch hitter, I think you probably keep the switch hitter over Pilar, right? I think that's what's going to keep Haggerty on the team over Pilar is you've got the ability to switch hit in Haggerty. And so you've got the option, whatever the case is with the starting pitching situation, lefty starter, righty starter. So I think it probably will be a Pilar DFA. Wasn't this a left-handed pitcher again? No, this was a righty. I believe righty tonight. Yeah, Jock Peterson. Everybody was in the lineup. Smith at the top. Yeah, it was a righty tonight. Had to think about it for a second. It's been a long day, y'all. Yeah, John, true. If anybody needs to lower the ERA, just play us. 100%. Just play us. Oh, goodness. Jack Leiter tomorrow. Man, this offense, though, it's like you have to focus on how good the pitching is. I say this like every night because the offense is just so putridly terrible that you have to start finding positives in anything else. And right now, I will say, even the bullpen tonight, right? The bullpen, no earned runs tonight. You had Bosley, Latz win. Look, Bosley gets an unearned run because of Garcia's error in right field, but you had Bosley, Latz, and Wynn come in and throw 3 shutout innings. I mean, the bullpen pitched well. Mahle pitched well. 5 innings, 3 runs isn't awesome, and Mahle could not control his fastball tonight at all. It was like a 50-50 proposition throwing the fastball. That's why you saw him go to the off speed so much. But, I mean, 3 earned runs in 5 innings is still a winnable ball game. And Mahle probably could have gone a 6th inning. I don't think they're quite at the point of wanting to extend him out, especially in a losing ball game. But I think he could have gone a 6th inning and probably picked up a quality start. Texas breaks. My thoughts on getting rid of Garcia, favorable towards it. I think that you should be putting Garcia on the trade block. Right now, there's nobody that you can put in right field that's going to do a whole lot worse than Adolis right now. And yes, you could maybe argue that there's some stronger upside with Adolis Garcia compared to like a Dustin Harris, but I would probably feel pretty comfortable at this point giving Dustin Harris right field and just letting it be whatever it is. It's not going to be worse than what you're getting with Adolis. I think Dustin Harris has some interesting intangibles. If it was me, I'm probably trying to trade Adolis Garcia, seeing if I can get somebody to take a little bit of a bigger bite, maybe allured by the 2023 greatness. And I'm letting Dustin Harris take over. And, obviously when Evan Carter comes back, you got to reshuffle again. But I'd be all in favor of seeing what you can get for Adolis Garcia. You're not going to keep him long-term anyways. At this point, I think the only reason you really would keep him is if he's actually contributing to the team. If Adolis was hitting 300 right now with 15 homers, of course you're going to keep him. You still might not sign him long-term, but you're definitely keeping him. But if you're not signing him long-term and he's not producing, I don't know why you wouldn't trade him or try and see if you can figure out some kind of alternative. Lineup was dog water tonight. I do think that Texas breaks. I do think that somebody is going to be interested in Adolis. I think that he had enough of a bang in the 2023 postseason. Somebody's going to think that they can fix him. And I do think that you'll be able to get some value out of him. Now, May 23rd. That's today's date. It's still a little too early for trades, in my opinion. I just don't think that you're going to see a lot of them before June. Maybe starting June 1, you start to see some things pick up, but most teams aren't going to be willing to trade in May. Yeah, we don't, Brad. This is a really good point. Like, how many hanging curveballs did we see tonight, right? How many hanging curveballs did we see? And we just watched our hitters just take them. And we see a lot right down the middle, like Jonah Heim tonight. Jonah got a couple of just center cut beauties right down the pipe, man, and just not able to put him in play. Like, he fouled off a couple. Josh Young in his last at bat, I know that he ultimately reached base with a walk, but you see a lot of fouls on fastballs right down the middle. You're just not going to win a lot of games when you're missing those center cut pitches right down the pipe. I know y'all who are watching the games and not just cherry picking the box score. If you're watching, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like, we cannot take advantage. Brad, it's a really good point. We can't take advantage of the pitches right down the pipe. Fastballs, hanging curveballs. Yeah, Mike, I'm with you. It's like the fastball is the issue again. We're getting 97 right down the middle and fouling it. And I'm not going to go on a victory lap on this, but again, tell me one more time how Brett Boone has made such a big difference. And I love Booney. I love the energy that he's bringing in the dugout in the clubhouse, but I kind of told y'all, like, the Boone deal was not going to make that big of a difference with this offense. It's more about personnel than anything coaching related. When it comes to hitting. Now, when it comes to how the team is playing overall, I do think you have to look at the manager. I'm not saying this is all Bruce Bochy's fault, but you do have to look at the manager when it comes to the team's overall play and record. But when it comes to hitting, look, Donnie Ecker, I'm not saying he was perfect. I'm not saying that he had this team in a groove or in a click, but I definitely didn't think firing Donnie Ecker was going to do anything, and it really hasn't. And I don't even know at this point if it's like a huge question. 52 games in, and Alan, let me see this. And this is just not a good baseball team. The offense isn't good. Dustin Harris just collected his 6th RBI of the night. Dustin Harris, man. 6th RBI of the night in Round Rock. I got to check on that Round Rock game. Can y'all believe Round Rock? I think, what are they up to now? Round Rock is up to 19 runs right now. Can y'all imagine the Rangers scoring 19 runs? Round Rock has now scored 19 runs tonight. Insane, man. They're playing the Charlotte Knights right now. Dustin Harris, like I said, 6 RBI on the evening. This is an ungodly, like otherworldly stat line from Dustin Harris. Listen to this stat line from him. He's 3 for 4 with 3 walks. Dustin Harris, man, 3 for 4, 6 RBI, and 3 walks. The dude's been on base 6 times tonight. That's why I'm saying, Dustin Harris, give him right field. Trade Adolis Garcia, give Dustin Harris right field. I don't understand why you wouldn't at this point. Dustin Harris is 3 for 4 with 3 walks tonight and 6 RBI. I would love to see Dustin come up, play right field, really get a long runway. I like Dustin Harris a lot. It's hard. You know, when Dustin came up, he had his moments this season, but then you're getting benched every other day. Leody Taveras was taking playing time away from him. I would love to see them give Dustin Harris a month straight of play time. He's not going to do any worse than Adolis Garcia. Keep going. Chris, appreciate the gifts, man. Thank you so much. Matthew, again, kind of going back to my point, you don't give Dustin Harris and players like Dustin Harris a long runway. You're yanking him out of the lineup every other day. And by the way, you're playing Leody Taveras, who you DFA'd a week later, giving playing time to Leody over him. I don't think that's great for development. I think if you're going to bring up a prospect, if you're going to bring up a guy from AAA, you should actually play them unless it's just injury related. right? So you get an injury, guy goes on the IL, you just need depth, that's fine. But if you're going to bring up a guy and you're going to promote him and it's not directly correlating with an injury, I don't know why you don't give him playing time and a long runway to succeed. Hey, yeah, Chris, I noticed that. Switched it up a little bit, man. Absolutely. No, I caught on, brother. I appreciate you, man. I don't think Garcia to DH. I don't know why that would be the hot move. I don't think Garcia doing anything in the batter's box right now is super awesome. I don't really understand why Garcia to DH would be like this sexy innovation for success. I mean, I don't know. You tell me where I'm wrong. How is moving Garcia to DH going to do anything different for him? I don't see it. I mean, and Matthew, you're right on Garcia's defense, but I mean, look, he had an error tonight that led directly to a run. It's like even the defense. I mean, I know he's had a lot of great plays this season, but I don't even think you can keep Adolis Garcia up for his defense at this point. I almost feel like, yeah, you move. Thank you, Matthew. I think this is something that we agree on here. Like, if you're moving Garcia to DH, you're taking away like the only positive he has. Like, he's got a good arm and he's solid out in right field. You move him to DH, you just took away like his only positive. So Matthew, I'm 100% with you on that, brother. Like that makes a ton of sense. Why take away the only positive the man has this year? His glove. You move him to DH, you took that away. I don't understand how that makes it better. Big E, what's going on? Big E says on YouTube, he says Garcia and Osuna need to be up. I'm kind of with it. Like, I do think Osuna and Harris are probably going to eventually find their way up to the big league club if this continues. Move Garcia to the IL, Brad says, make up an injury. Yeah, look, a lot of y'all are saying that with Marcus. Put Marcus on the IL for a second. Josh Young is doing well. Gio, I'm with you on that. Appreciate you hanging out, by the way, brother. And Berger is definitely looking better. Like Josh Young and Berger. And then if you look at the rest of the lineup, I would say the 3-4-5 tonight, Langford, we already talked about. We know he's struggling a little bit. But Josh Young, 3 walks tonight, 1 for 1 with 3 walks. Berger, 1 for 4, had a big hit. Almost made it a 1-run game at that point. It's pretty much those 2 guys that are the only ones trustworthy right now. Young and Berger. That's it. That's it. We keep going. Joseph says, I'm done with Jock. I think Jock is definitely not living up to expectations. And I said this earlier on the show. I think we might be past the point of just saying that he's unlucky. He's kind of, I feel like, regressed a little bit back to what he was doing at the beginning of the year. Jock was 0 for 2, did put the ball in play each time. Don't think it was super hard contact. But look, Jock, to me, definitely not living up to the expectation, and I understand why people are frustrated with him. Jacob, can't believe we won. Hey, enjoy the win, brother. It's not easy being a White Sox fan or a Rangers fan right now, really. But definitely not easy being a White Sox fan. Enjoy the win, my friend. Alan, I don't think that's a hot take that Jock Peterson is going to have a higher average than Semien and Garcia by the end of the deadline. I mean, look, I think that is not a hot take by any means. Luke, I hope you're right about Semien's all-star comeback. I really, really do. It's not looking great. That prediction is not looking awesome right now, but I would absolutely love to see it. Look, I said I don't think, I'm not going to be shocked if the Rangers drop 2 out of 3 to the White Sox. I'm just not going to be shocked. Like, if they got swept, that would be extremely embarrassing, but it might be one of those weird things where it's actually a positive because it will actually inspire some real change in the personnel. I think we go on a 6-game skid and lose every game to the White Sox. I find it hard to believe that there's not some heads rolling on Monday. I find that really hard to believe. Mike, somebody made the point on Twitter, we aren't in as bad of a situation contract-wise as people make it seem. Only long-term bad contract is Semien at this point. Even Jock is a short one. I do think that there is some wisdom in that. Now, Marcus Semien is in year 4 of a 7-year deal. Year 4 of a 7-year deal. So you still got year 5, year 6, year 7. You basically got 3.5 seasons left with Marcus Semien. And that's not terrible. Corey Seager, I know that some people are out on Seager. I know Ultramodern, if you're still hanging out, I know Ultramodern is out on Seager because of the injury-prone stuff, and I know maybe some of y'all are too. Like, I don't love Seager and the injury-proneness. I love that he misses 40 games like almost routinely in the regular season every year. But I don't think that when Corey Seager's on the field, he's shown signs of regression. I think that he is going to be a guy that hits 25-plus bombs every year, maybe 30, and drives in 85 to 100 runs, just depending on his RBI opportunities. So I think that Seager's deal is fine. I think he actually is probably going to slot well into a DH spot eventually. So I'm actually with you on the contracts. The Jock deal sucks, but it's only a year and a half more. You might be able to potentially find a trade partner if it gets really, really bad. But I don't know. I think Jock Peterson, you might have to eat it. But at the same time, there's not a lot of these long-term crazy deals beyond the Semien one. You're right. I think that is a plus. The Angels leapfrogged us today. Oof. Yeah, Jacob, you're right. Mahle was a little bit unlucky. There were a couple of blue pits, 100%, but he couldn't locate today. The fastball was like a 50-50 shot, right? Fastball was like 50-50 going this way, that way. It felt like he didn't really have control most of the night. Appreciate y'all hanging out. Look, Luke, no, I don't think at this point you can justify, well, at least Marcus Semien has a gold glove. At least Adolis Garcia has a gold glove. Like, at this point, you have got to get offense. So, no, I don't think you can feel better because Marcus Semien's giving you gold glove defense or Adolis Garcia is giving you gold glove defense. You gotta have offense. Texas breaks. I don't know if you can trade Semien because of the contract. I just don't think you can. Let me see what else. Josh Smith slump. Yeah, he's hitting .080, .80 over his last 7 games. Josh H. Smith. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, man. Mike, this is a good transition. We said we were going to talk about Kumar Rocker. Rocker tonight, 3 innings pitched, no earned runs. I think he gave up 2 hits, and then he had 3 Ks. Now, Mike Baxick was talking about it on the broadcast. Rocker's probably going back to AAA. And I think it makes sense. You want to develop Rocker as a starter. I know that some of y'all probably would like to see Rocker in the bullpen. I don't think they want to mess with Rocker and his development by moving him into the pen right now. I think they want to keep him as a starter. So I do think Rocker is probably going back to AAA after his AA rehab stint. And I think that's best. And you know what? If Patrick Corbin fades down the stretch, Kumar Rocker's a call-up away. I do not think that you want to mess with his development by making him a bullpen guy, talking about Kumar Rocker. So I do agree with Mike Baxick. For all of y'all that were listening to the broadcast, Baxick said, have him do his rehab assignment in Frisco, send him to AAA to continue his development. I couldn't agree more. I've been saying that. You don't want to move Leiter or Rocker to the bullpen. It doesn't make a lot of sense. You want Rocker, you want Leiter to continue to develop as starters. That makes a lot of sense to me. And I understand what the angle is, moving them to the bullpen, because the bullpen is shaky right now. And those guys do have electric stuff. Leiter, I think, is fine. I don't think we're talking about moving Leiter to the pen. Some people, I think, were at the beginning of the season, right? But since we've seen Jack start some games, I think we all feel pretty encouraged that he's a starter and that he can kind of hang in the big leagues at this point. Look, it's not like he's money in the bank, but we've seen some great starts out of him this year. I'm very encouraged, but I want to see Rocker continue to develop as a starter. And if that means going down to AAA for a month, a couple months, and continuing that process, that's what I want to see. Mike, this is the $1 million point. And I've been trying to tell a lot of y'all this. And Mike, I'm glad that you commented this. I'm just going to go ahead and steal this one from Material Man because this is gold. 2026 rotation. Evo, DeGrom, Leiter, Bradford, Rocker. That's a division-winning rotation. And that is what I mean. I didn't bring up that point exactly, but that is exactly what I mean when I say, even if it goes poorly this year, and let's say the Rangers trade deadline, they're 5, 6, 7 games out of the playoffs. You can sell off some good pieces and totally do a reload for 2026. Now, you've got to fix the offense. You cannot, and I repeat, cannot trot out the same offense in 2026. You've got to figure out something different. Keep Langford, Carter, Seager, Berger, Young, and blow up the rest? Or anything else is on the table? I mean, it's pretty much those 5 guys for me. Langford, Carter in the outfield. I think Josh Smith you could probably throw in too, so make that 6. I would probably leave Josh Smith around. The versatility, the utility guy. I like Josh Smith, so I would probably throw his name back in there. Beyond that, I'm probably totally reloading. I don't think that you can have the same lineup or the same guys trot back out in 2026 and expect it to go any better. I would love it, Mike, if Latz and Wynn could turn into something like that. That would be crazy awesome. Latz and Wynn pitch well tonight. I'm trying to take the positives where I can. Look, Bochy gone after this year. I would say trending that direction. Marcus Semien needs to go, Trevor says. It might happen. But I do think that Bochy being gone next year, that probably is the direction this is moving. And I don't think CY is going to at all embarrass Bochy by firing him mid-season if this gets really bad. I think Boch probably rides this year out, and then they turn it over to Skip Schumacher. I think that is going to be the next coach of the team. I think Skip is going to slot right in. You know, he was manager of the year a couple of years ago with the Marlins. Ton of respect for him around the league. I think that he'll probably become the next manager. Corey Seager is injury prone. I don't think anybody denies Corey Seager's injury prone at this point in his career. And I've told y'all, I am totally okay with you're going to get Seager for 125 games. And I think we all can agree last year, if Corey Seager would have played 150 games instead of 125, it probably wouldn't have made a difference. Like, I can't say 25 more games of Seager would have made us a playoff team last year. Anybody disagree? So from that perspective, I don't think that Corey Seager playing 125 games is the worst thing in the world. You should be able to overcome Corey Seager missing 25 games or 30 games or whatever it is. So we agree. Corey Seager's injury prone, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't have a lot of value in the 125 regular season games he plays in the postseason. If he can give you those 2 things, I think you live with it. I really do. Yeah, I mean, it's 5 more wins, maybe, Chris, but what were the final standings last year? Like, how far out of the playoffs did we drop last year? I'd have to go back and look at the standings. I don't think 25 more games of Corey Seager last year makes us a playoff team. I really would probably argue that one for a while. I'll spare y'all, but I don't think that makes us a playoff team. I think that it might have helped us make it a little more respectable, but let's see last year, just for the sake of it. Rangers were 10.5 games out of the West last year. So even 5 more wins with Corey Seager doesn't make a huge difference there. And I don't know what the wild card was. That would be the interesting one. What was the wild card race? But look, in terms of the division, 10.5 games out, it doesn't make a big difference. So that's why I'm okay with Corey Seager missing games. I don't love it. But I'm okay with it because in the grand scheme of things, that shouldn't be what makes or breaks the season if Corey has to miss a little bit of time. Mike, I do think that Schumacher is going to be the guy. Skip Schumacher is going to be the guy. I would bet money on that. I really don't know why they would go outside the organization. You've got a former manager of the year with the Marlins, like the Marlins, right? He was manager of the year with the Miami Marlins. That should really be all you need to know. Skip Schumacher, very well respected in the game. I think he would be a great coach for the Rangers. There's not a lot of other great options. Let's be real. You've got a manager right there in your organization. I think you got to go with them. All right, y'all, we got to start winding things down a little bit. Chris, I'm with you on the sentiment. Talking about Seager, Chris, the point is definitely well taken. Like, you're paying Seager a lot of money, and from that perspective, you do want to see a big investment like that play. I think if you play it from the other side a little bit, I think some people would argue if you do have that much money invested in him, clearly you want to do everything you can to make sure it stays healthy. Right now, that's not happening, but that is why I think you see them being so careful with Corey Seager. I think he's going to be out. They said as of like yesterday or maybe a couple days ago, it was still like going to be another 7 to 10 days. So we're probably not going to see Corey Seager until after the Rays series. So we play the Jays, the Cardinals, and then the Rays. He might be back for the Rays series, but I would almost guess that they hold him out until after the Rays series. So I think he misses the White Sox series. I think he's going to miss both the Blue Jays and the Cardinals series. He might be back for the Rays, but I think in all likelihood, he's back after the Rays series, if I had to guess. Keep going. Tony, I agree that things could turn around. Now, look, I don't know how much it turns around. I don't think this team suddenly becomes elite out of nowhere, but I do think that this team could put together potentially a high 80s, 90-win season. I don't know if my prediction of 95 is going to be happening. I think they're starting to dig themselves into a little bit of a hole, but I think this team could still win high 80s, maybe even get to the 90 point. You've just got to see what happens with Corey Seager and his health, and then what they do at the trade deadline. But no, I'm not up for burning it all the way down at this point. You've got an elite pitching staff. You've just got to fix the offense, and you've got to part with prospects if you have to get the offense fixed. You cannot waste these DeGrom Evo years. Absolutely cannot do it. Appreciate all y'all hanging out. I appreciate the support. I've got a lot of y'all chiming in. I know after nights like tonight, we got a lot to get off our chest. You guys got to know, even when we go back and forth, I appreciate all the comments. Nobody is, totally off base, sharing their opinion. It happens in baseball, right? We're all fans. We all have different things that we notice, that we observe, that we want to see happen. And I love it. I mean, honestly, it's all a part of a fun of being the fan, really. We keep going. Next game. Let's go to my MLB.com schedule. Let's go to tomorrow's games and let's check this out. I don't know if Jack Leiter is going to have a lot of stats against any of the White Sox guys. Let's see what we got, though, here. So Jack Leiter against the White Sox, 1 for 2. Andrew Benintendi against Leiter, 1 for 2. Robert, 1 for 2. Rojas, 0 for 3. Sosa, the second baseman, 0 for 2. And Vargas, third baseman, 0 for 2. Nobody else has any at-bats against Leiter. Cannon is the pitcher for the White Sox. He's got a 3.76 ERA. 0 for 3, Jake Berger against him. 0 for 3, Adolis Garcia. 0 for 2, Wyatt Langford. 0 for 2, Kevin Pillar. 2 for 3 with a home run, Marcus Semien. And 0 for 2, Josh Smith. So, look, the Rangers that have faced Cannon, the probable starter for the White Sox, not great numbers unless your name's Marcus Semien. By the way, Round Rock just won 22-13 over Charlotte. Wowza. Stars lost 3-0. Yeah, it wasn't a great night in Dallas-Fort Worth sports tonight. It was not. Tony, yeah, there's some people that are down on the Rangers right now. I don't want to say haters because I know some of those guys, they've been around for a while. No, I don't think anybody's hating. I just think there's a lot of people that are down right now on the club and their prospects, and it's hard to fault them. This is not looking good. It's not looking good. I don't think that they are going to be competing in October if they don't make some personnel changes. I can't see it happening. It's definitely, I think, getting to a point where you've got to make a move sooner rather than later. You do not want to see this continue to slide. Absolutely. Look, we got a lot of diehards in the chat, and y'all are the real ones. I don't fault anybody for being a little bit down after a game like today. We just lost to one of the worst teams in baseball. It's hard to fault people for being down. No, I don't think you burn it all down. I don't think you trade Nate Eovaldi or Jacob deGrom. I think that would be stupid, but that's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. No hate for anybody that disagrees with me, but I do think it's a very stupid idea to start trading some of the big stars. You could easily reload this team with Jacob deGrom and Nate Eovaldi headlining the pitching staff, and you could have a competitive roster. Angels win, Stars lose. Yeah, look, Stars losing 3-0, series 1-1. It was never going to be easy against a team like Edmonton. I thought this was going to be a great series. I think it still is going to play itself out positively in the Stars' favor, but Edmonton's a tough team. Absolutely a tough team. Appreciate all y'all. So tomorrow, 1:10 game time for me, 3:10 for y'all in Texas. And we'll be live pretty much right after the game to talk about it again. Hopefully, much better circumstances, man. And I mean much better circumstances, please. My goodness. Again, thank you all for the support. I want to say a special thank you to my paid subscribers and members on YouTube and on TikTok. A bunch of y'all were in the chat tonight. Appreciate y'all to the moon and back. And by the way, what that's all about, I started just a real small membership subscription, $2.99 a month. And here's what you get. You get access to our private exclusive Ride on Rangers Discord. We do in-game chat before, after, late night. It's a ton of fun. And then also priority replies for videos and during our lives as the channel gets bigger and bigger. If you've loved what we've done with the show so far, you enjoy coming here post-game, during the game, checking it out, you like what I'm doing, I'd ask that you consider supporting me. Real small way that you can do that. I get $2.99 is $2.99. 100% I get that. But I would greatly appreciate you considering. That money goes to support me and the content that I produce here. A lot of what I do is still going to be free. Like 100%. These lives are going to be free. My videos that I put out, we're going to have a majority of our stuff always be free. But if you're looking to give back a little bit, support me and what I'm doing here at Ride on Rangers, I would love if you consider that subscription option right there. Hit that button right next to the chat, that subscribe button. If you're on TikTok and if you're on YouTube, I'll drop it in the chat right now for y'all. I think it'll show up on X, maybe a couple others too. Hey, Mike, appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much, man. Thank you for that subscription, Mike. That means a lot to me. Mike, I don't know if you've got any other socials, but if you would, my friend, at minimum, please email me, and I want to get you hooked up. I put my email in the chat for you. It's just austin@rideonrangers.com. Mike, if you don't have any other socials, I'm on pretty much everything. And you can't send me a DM, send me an email, and I want to get you hooked up with that exclusive chat there, man. That way you can hang out with us and commiserate with us during the games as well. That would be awesome, man. So send me that email, Mike. I would love to get you hooked up after the show. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate all y'all. We're going to be back tomorrow. We're going to be back. Rain or shine, baby. That's what I'm telling y'all. Rain or shine. We're here. Never accuse us of being fair weather fans here at Ride on Rangers. And a bunch of y'all that have been riding with me since day one, I know you're the same way, cut from the same cloth, and I love it. It's what makes this ever the more sweeter when the Rangers win it all and have a lot of success. Moments like these, man. Moments like these. It's what made 2023 as sweet as it was. We had to go through a lot of down seasons before that 2023 year. It's the journey of being a fan. We're loyal to the death. We bleed that red, white, and blue. Bleed it, baby. And we're going to be back again tomorrow. Can't keep us down. Tomorrow's a new day. We flush this one out. We come back tomorrow. We get a win. We're going to be here. I do hate the Astros, Robert. Chris, hey, if you come to Vegas, man, hit me up for sure. Would love to meet up and watch a game. Hit me up. Hopefully we can work it out in our schedules, man. All right, y'all. And Chris, thank you so much for the gifts. I appreciate all of the generosity, my friend. It means a lot to me. All right. We keep things going. Y'all have a great rest of your Friday night. Thank you for hanging out. And I hope that y'all be back tomorrow, hopefully under better circumstances. All right. If I don't see you, though, have a great weekend. And as I always say to end every show, God bless and go Rangers.